at WLFE-DB.com for upcoming shows and so much more.
Hey everyone, it's Tuesday night again. You know what that means, don't you? It's time to join Mike and Kristie for another episode of Where's My Sage? A show hosted by a psychic medium and a guy on a quest to find Bigfoot. Who would have thought? Together, they will take you on all sorts of adventures, and not with lots of different people. Kristie even gives readings. It's time to sit back, get up and get ready. You can't sample the universe sitting down. Your hosts are waiting. Come on, let's go!
There's the first one of the evening. Hello, guys. Welcome to Where's My Sage? I'm Mike, and we're out remote tonight. So maybe if I look at the right camera here, things will work out better for my life. We are live at the Pratt Event Center, and Kristie is with the owner, Mike, on the other side of the table. And good evening, Christina and Penny. We're going to bring some things up and say hello. And I've got way too many pictures of my face I'm looking at right now. So
it's not half as bad as looking at your face.
Yeah.
From my perspective, right?
Definitely not my ugly face tonight.
Hello,
hi,
everybody.
So we got folks coming in, a little late on the signal. Let's make sure my phone is, my phone's
Well, we should probably already put it out there that, this building is known to, the spirits and the energy are known to play with the technology, right? And,
I love playing with it.
and electronics.
It's a good time.
So it is always a good time. One of these times I'm going to film Mike without telling him, and you guys get to see what he gets like, how intense he is when he sits and he's giving me the look.
You guys can see.
Yeah. So, it's always fun. It's always fun. So when spirit messes with it, it doesn't work out, and he can't figure it out. It's the funniest thing ever. So.
Well, I couldn't figure out why everything was going, and I realized my new setup's got an IR light on it. And when we moved the table, it turned it on. So I'm like, why am I feeling like I'm thinking of something?
World.
Yeah. Okay. People want me to see my notification. So I will turn it over to your questions. And
so. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are here, as Mike said, tonight now, this is the thing. This is owner Mike, and I am going to mess up your last name.
Great. It's been done before.
We get along so well here already. It's awesome.
Let's hear how creative you are. Bonafide?
Bonafide. Yeah, I was going to say that.
Very good.
So
sounds like an Irondequoit name there.
Right? So we are, and I've seen it, the name of the building said a few different ways.
Yes.
Pratt Opera House Event Center. What is the proper name of this beautiful building?
Most people call it the Pratt Opera House,
Okay.
and it's probably been known as that for the last 50 years.
Okay.
On our website, we now have begun to use the Pratt Event Center because we don't want to mislead people and say it's about operettas and having just shows
Gotcha.
there. So we do a variety of things.
Okay.
So I think we're going to go with Pratt Event Center, but local people particularly and stuff that it's out on web on is Pratt Opera House.
Okay, wonderful. And can everybody hear us all right? Is that sound check before we actually get into the history? And this is just the tip of the iceberg for the weekend we're going to have. Tomorrow is going to be a whole nother day, you guys. And it's going to be quite interesting, especially to see Mike get ready for that.
Yeah. So let us know if you guys can hear us. This microphone's usually pretty good. We're using the Logitech. So this is what we've been using on most of our outings. So
yes.
Let me know if you guys can hear us. Okay. If not, I'll switch microphones and we'll pick up both, and we'll get a little echo. So if somebody in the comments can throw something in there, let me know.
Testing. 1, 2.
So 3.
Well,
all right, we got 3.
I think we're good.
Well, what I would like to say before we begin is thank you for joining us at the Pratt. It's delightful having you here. now that I've met both of you, I like having you here. I think you're good energy for the place.
Thank
So
you.
it's a joy, and we truly do welcome you.
Oh, well, we love it. Thank you very much.
You're very
Yes.
welcome.
No, and I had a great experience when I was here before for something else, so stay tuned, you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a wonderful place, and
Thank you.
it's got a lot of different energy, and your energy, and DJ's energy, and everyone who helps is just fun and lighthearted and just good people. I love it.
It's interesting you say that because when I went home to get ready to come back, I talked with my wife, and her name is Judith Kohler, and obviously our family owns a property, we've owned it for 15 years, but
Okay.
she said if you got an opportunity, she said, talk about the change in energy and what it feels like. And you have zeroed right in on it, obviously. And I guess it's a transformation over the time that we've had it,
Really?
and then what I know historically has
Right.
happened in the building.
Right.
Would you like a brief history of it?
Yes,
And I'll talk about
please. Absolutely. So share with us what it's all about. How long have you owned?
approximately 15 years.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So, and how did you, before you actually get into it, how did you come to own this? How did you acquire the building?
Fascinating story.
Excellent. That's what we like, right, you guys? We love stories.
We just had a village board meeting that we're talking about issues in the community, and I relayed part of this story. So it's funny you asked, because that was 2 nights ago. The Pratt building, first of all, the downtown district was designated as 7 to save. So because of the historic significance of it, we're in a historic district. Many of these buildings are on the historic registry.
Okay.
And this building was really deteriorating badly. The then mayor had this hit list. It was a strategic plan. It was really on paper for the village, and saving the Pratt was on it.
Okay.
Saving the visitor center, which is across the street from us,
Okay.
which is houses the office of Assemblyman Hawley, Steve Hawley, who's our local assemblyman.
Okay. All right.
Was also on it. So the village took that on with municipal money. They were trying to do this and couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had a musical background, and we knew Ed. The then mayor was Ed Salvatore. He says, hey, I just had Congressman LaFalls came through here and look at this. He says, we're really interested in saving this. Would you want to take a look? So we said, yeah, we would. You know, we were a lot younger and more energetic.
Weren't we all 15 years ago, right? I mean,
So
isn't hobbling around the building tonight.
we did a walkthrough. It was pretty wretched.
I love it.
I gave you an idea. We talked about this once, and I were just talking about how things are improving in Albion and the business district and the great things that are happening. But there was one tenant in the building when we bought it.
Oh.
Now you have to understand, this is 2 adjoining buildings. It's called the Pratt building, the Day and Day building.
Okay.
And interestingly, and you might know this, the Day and Day building houses a meeting room for veterans of the Civil War. It's called a GAR room, Grand Army of the Republic, which is a historic piece in itself, separate from the Pratt. But the buildings are connected, and you can walk between the two.
Okay.
So the end of that story is we now have 11 tenants, and one of them has 40 vendors in it. So it's a cooperative.
That's wonderful.
So we were talking about what has happened with the property.
Mm-hmm.
Back to when we looked at it. You would walk through the Opera House, and there were maybe 100 holes in the floor. The glass was broken out. The ceiling was badly leaking. The roof, debris all over. That's how we began.
Okay.
And we got involved with it in spite of all that. And I think it was like, interestingly, I sat in the parking lot. We looked at it. I'm on the parking lot, just kind of looking at the back of the buildings. A friend of mine, we were on the Board of Education together. He drives by and says, what are you doing, Michael? He says, you think about buying that like that? Now, in my mind, and I was being truthful, I says, no, I'm just looking at it. You know, well, like 6 months later, we had begun the process of buying because I'm a liar. So we went through the whole deal. Talk about interference. You know, there were like 17 encumbrances or all kinds of issues. Took us. So
are we good? Because you're clicking a lot over there.
For some reason, the speaker on mine would not go, and it was getting picked up on the microphone here. So we are getting a little echo.
Okay. Well, the room 2 is.
And then I put this in.
Yeah.
So there's a delay. So I'm hearing a couple different things.
Uh-huh.
But everybody's saying the sound looks good.
Oh, so it's just all you. No, that's nothing new. It's all good.
If we had
I'm teasing.
if we had a choice, I would rather have you make me look better than sound better.
Well, I'm working on it.
Okay. Oh, all right.
So we
anywho,
proceeded.
yes.
So we bought the building, and our goal from the beginning was to, at some point in time, save the building first of all,
Right.
and then have a performing arts center
Right.
in the Opera House space, which is the Shell and Opera House on the 3rd floor.
Yes.
So right now we're in the 2nd floor.
Yeah.
We're actually in what was one of the theater management offices.
Oh, okay.
So the Opera House is above us.
Yes.
So we got in them to save the buildings, and we've been working away with friends and relatives and
Aww.
community members and organizations, basically for the 15 years, and the result is what you are seeing now. So currently, we have a CFO, which is a certificate of occupancy,
Okay.
to use the Opera House, so it's legal. We've done an incredible number, 26 fire doors, firewalls, met all the code stuff that we have to meet.
Right.
And we're, as you know, slowly starting to use it for things.
Yes.
So we've used it in the past.
Yes.
We would get special permits and have to post fire marshals. We've had
Okay.
fundraisers for United Ways and different things.
Oh.
So just nice, positive things.
Right. Right. Good energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the energy. When we started, I don't know much, but I do know you walk into a place, kind of feels dingy, oppressive, even with all the lights on.
Sure.
It's just you get this,
Yes.
these feelings that you can't really interpret, and you can't, not something you see, hear, or smell, but just a
I have
feeling.
no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, you know,
What?
So, throughout the years, it's really incredible. And we've had good people doing things in here, and I can tell you stories of odd things that have happened through the years, but we've slowly, it's changed. And it's just as you folks have said, this is like a fun place. It feels good. You come in, and it's like delightful.
Yeah.
You know, it's bright.
Yeah.
You almost feel refreshed after you're done being. I sit in there, and this is going to sound really odd.
Okay.
I think you'll get it. It's like this building calling out to us.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like the
Absolutely.
building saying, "Yeah, you guys should really get involved. Help
Right.
us, help this." You know, it's like
Aw.
really.
Yes.
So we did end up doing that, and we're happy. I mean, the building is for downtown. It makes a huge, huge difference with big improvement. And in our lives, we've had lots of experiences, good, bad, and different. You know, but
Right.
we all grew through it.
Okay. Can you guys hear us okay? Anything? DJ, can you hear us? Okay, we're on now. Okay, go ahead.
Did I mention anytime during any one of our takes? By the way, I'm feeling pretty confident now, given how this is going. I can't do anything wrong. But I do appreciate everything you're doing because I'm a technology idiot. So that electronics really get played with and messed around with.
We've noticed.
It's like,
Just a little bit.
you're not the first.
Yeah.
It took us a while to get it. To figure it out. You always think, I didn't hook up the wire to do this, I didn't bring in good batteries. People running to the store to go get batteries after they replaced them 4 times. So it truly is just something that happens.
That's crazy.
You get messed with.
And we are used to that. Although this is a lot. I've never had it all go down. Maybe one other location, that was about it. But otherwise it was.
Well, I'd like to apologize, but I really have very little control over it.
No need. It comes with the territory, right, Michael?
My good cell phone charger is not charged. The phone.
See, he's not even answering my questions. That's how preoccupied he is right now. All right, so talk fast. Ready? Go. No.
So, building was built 1882.
Okay.
It was a devastating fire, took out this entire block.
Oh, wow.
John Pratt was a farmer and entrepreneur, wanted to build a theater for the local community. Day and Day Cousins built the Day and Day building, same time, a whole block burned out, and basically they wanted mercantile, and that's the one that houses the Grand Army of the Republic room. So he built it, got it opened. He had a little piece of land behind him that the gentleman wouldn't sell him. And eventually, after the theater opened, he decided he would sell it. There's a store, and I don't want to take up too much time with it. Someday we'll talk about it. But John Pratt got a hold of it. So he closed the theater, took the roof off, extended it over the building that was adjacent to it, encompassed that lot.
Okay.
And it was then the largest, deepest stage between Rochester and Buffalo.
Wow.
The cool part of that was everybody wanted to be here and act here because they could get all their sets and scenery and everything in, and then throughout a performance, just move them off and on stage.
Oh, nice.
Stage, and you'll see, and you've seen it. It's incredibly deep for its day.
The stages.
Yeah. So it ran. 1882 he started. He opened about 4 years later. He closed it when he acquired that piece of land, and then reopened it around 1905. So he ran it for 8-10 years, closed it down, did the work, opened it. It used to be the Grand Theater, and that's why you'll see on the seating chart, the one original seating chart we have is different from the Pratt Opera House. When he reopened it, he reopened it as the Opera House, the Pratt Opera House, put his name on it. It ran until about 1930, 1931.
Okay.
And at which time there was just a lot of things changing.
Right.
You know, Depression, everything was
Yeah.
movie houses coming in, and
Yes.
lots of stuff changed.
Right.
We've heard people had music lessons up here after that.
Oh, cool.
But by World War II, so it would be mid-40s, early 40s.
Okay.
We had stories about accounts that the balcony had collapsed, and they took all the fine wood out of it, and they were making furniture, and they took the metal, and they were putting it towards the war effort.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So
All right.
some
Yeah,
really
that sounds
neat
about right.
historic pictures out here on our county. It's a historic courthouse district. It's our county building.
Yeah.
And there's piles of scrap iron, like
Really?
20 feet high. And we're pretty sure our seats and railings and stuff are in the pile.
Oh.
That's really cool.
That is. I know. Mike's like, let's go.
So
peeking in the windows and stuff.
we ended up getting 7 little sections of cast iron that were ornamental parts of the railings, and we put one together.
Yes.
That's kind of used to be one of the box seats in the Opera House, so people kind of see what it
up
looks
there
like.
now?
It's up there.
Oh, I've sat in that. It's pretty cool.
It was built into somebody's house,
Which I'm watching right now.
and built into somebody's house, and we were able to purchase it when the house changed hands, and then we brought them and put them up here.
Very nice. That's great.
So balcony's gone,
Yes.
fabric's gone, floors all been patched up, tongue oiled. Like I said, it's safe. We patched up walls. We've left a lot of original fabric on that we could.
Right.
Originally had gas footlights. It was right at the advent of electricity, of course.
Right.
And it was a big deal in its day.
Yeah.
There were 750 seats in the seating chart between the floor and the balcony.
Well, I believe it. It's big up there.
Yeah.
It's big.
And
it's
then
beautiful.
we had accounts in the library and the archives of 1,000 people. They'd have parades up and down Main Street.
Wow.
And
That's so
exit the parade and come up the main entrance going up to the Opera House, which third floor. The ticket booth is right across the hall.
Right.
So they buy your ticket, go up to the Opera House and just absolutely fill it. And we had some students from Cornell came here, about 10 years ago, and they did a workshop. And they were this tin was put on the wall for a fire barrier, and we suspected there was something underneath it.
Oh.
Well, as they pulled it off, you could hear them yelling. They had uncovered playbills and property plots that were glued to the wall.
Really?
When the theater first opened. And then when he reopened, he had to put this fire barrier on. So that hadn't been seen since 1905.
Wow.
So when they pulled it off, there the stuff is on the wall. So, and that's historic fabric that's still up there.
How exciting to find something
Yeah.
like that, you
Yeah,
know? It's like, I know. Didn't they say that I've heard, people will put things in walls.
Yeah.
Or like in attics and hide them or whatever for good luck. Right? In houses or when they're doing like construction or remodeling or something.
For fun.
Yeah.
Thinking at some point in time.
Yes.
This was, and it's funny, you go up and look at it now, you're looking at a piece of paper, and we just have this clear plastic, so you can actually go like this. You could touch them up until a few months ago, but we wanted to protect them. So anyway,
Sure.
you can look at it and it says, property plot and everything you have to do on each scene of the play, 1903. Well, when that was covered, it was only a year old. It didn't mean anything. It was meaningless.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So now,
Yes.
it's something that you never find, and it's such cool. The artwork on it is
Oh, I
neat.
can imagine.
We had lots of people like to tag the walls because.
What you doing, Michael?
Hi guys. So I found the one outlet in the room that doesn't work. So
Oh my goodness.
it's good that our guide for the evening sent me a little message saying, "Hey, there's one outlet in the room that doesn't work."
Oh, thank you, guys.
Thank you, DJ.
Aww.
So it's an interesting history. A lot more to it. That was a fascinating place, and it continues to be that way.
Yeah.
The architecture is just astounding.
It really is.
You know,
it really
and
is.
the fact that it was salvaged through all these years, and then we took it another step and saved a lot of the inside.
Yes.
But it had been a multi-generational, like a general store, department store for years. People would come here from Ohio, Toronto, New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's the purpose of having buildings hooked together. They would go from one to the other, and it was all under one name, which was the Landauer family.
Okay. Wow, that's great. That's
So-
amazing.
Kind of neat.
I like that.
So, Mike,
Yes.
may we take a quick little tour
Okay.
while Kristie.
Hold the phone there, dude.
Hey.
He's so jumpy. Tell him to
Jumpy.
Oh, I have to behave myself. Tell him to calm his behind down, you guys. Come on. You guys all
Okay.
know who you are. I know you're in there. No.
Well, everybody's here.
Are they good? Future plans. Like, so you're having events now and you're doing tours and you're really trying to promote and build up even more and just continue on. But what's your end game? What's the end goal?
Our end goal is to have we would like to have a not-for-profit or an individual that wants to take it the next step. That'll get in here, take the improvements that we've got, we sustained it, we're going to continue to work on it.
Sure.
And then turn it over to somebody else and take it. And I would hope it would be a full-fledged event center or performance arts center. That's our end goal.
That's awesome.
A few years ago, we had talked about putting a recording studio in the Day building
Oh, okay.
by the GAR room, and then hooking it to this and do performances and be able to record them. And it's a perfect size venue because it's medium size and even pro acts.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like an auditorium, but it's not a little concert club.
It's a nice size.
It'd
It
be
really
beautiful
is.
for something like that.
Yes.
Our goal is to continue working on it. We're going to do some of the work on the outside, different things on the inside, but just move forward. We thought we're going to start with a theater on the rough where you would take a cushion up, get a blanket up, get them at the door, sit on the floor. The floor is a rigged floor.
Yes.
Remember.
Yes.
Which means it was built as for performances. It wasn't like a show house where you have a flat floor.
Right. No, it's actually on a fine.
But the stage is so big, you could have a performance just on the stage.
Oh, you can. This place is, the Opera House is huge and it's beautiful. Even just the way it is right now. I mean, I can imagine when it's done, and it's just all back to the way, it's amazing.
So this step is to finish some things.
Okay.
And then use it in the rough.
Okay.
Like that, and like be an indoor amphitheater.
That's so neat. I love that. So tomorrow, tomorrow will be day 2 of the weekend with Where's My Sage at the Pratt Center. Or Pratt Event Center, I should say. So tell us about tomorrow. What's going on tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's a little event that we just try to organize. As you said, we're doing more and more. We've got a lot of interest in people that just want to come and check the place out. So we said, well, let's do not an opening, but soft events. Nothing major, do a little bit of promotion, have some good quality people involved coming in. So we're going to have a gallery, as you know.
Really? A gallery reading?
I think there's going to be a gallery.
Is there going to be a gallery reading? Where? When?
Well, if everything holds up, it continues, right?
if she doesn't continue to fall apart anymore this year,
we're going to have a blackout here tonight. But that's exciting because it's going to be in the Opera House.
Yes, it
on that big flat area that we're talking about.
Yes, it is.
So, the surroundings are just so cool. The area is cool. We're going to have a couple individuals in here doing some readings during the day. We're going to have a couple vendors come in. So it's like a good part of the day. So it's not terribly long, but people that are interested can come in, take a look. Yeah. And even if they don't want to get involved in something, they can just look at the place.
That's great. So is there an entrance fee or can people just come in?
No, people can just come in.
Okay, so there's no entrance fee. So take the day. It's supposed to be like in the mid-70s, right, tomorrow?
I think it's going to
clear,
be
sunny.
a decent day.
Yeah, no rain, I don't think. So it's a perfect day just to come out and have lunch. There are different restaurants in the area. Walk around the streets, come check out the beautiful building, and like you said, there's going to be tarot readers. There's going to be a couple of other psychics here as well, vendors. Now, the co-op space that you have,
yes,
will they also be open for people to shop?
It will be.
Well, there you go. You have a whole, and that's a really cool space.
We have a business that's up here that has a whole variety of stuff. The whole back half of this floor. Okay. And it's called Red Check, and then downstairs we have the browser, which is 40 vendors, as I said.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
There's a building behind us that has a couple of vendors and a bakery, and I believe they're going to be open tomorrow.
Is that where those cookies come from?
It is. Good guess.
Cookies.
So, guys, the last time I was here, I started this weight loss program, and I walk in, and there's this planner, and it was full. And I went, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. I was so good, and I didn't touch any, but all of my cohorts and crew that I was with had no problem telling me how wonderful they were. And so I cannot wait to get my hands on those.
They were just rubbing them, weren't they?
They smelled so good. Oh my gosh.
So when they visit, and if they don't want to get a reading or do some of the other stuff, and as I said, look around. You can look at the historic stuff that we saved that I talked to you was unveiled in the Opera House. Okay. We have historic photos and stuff hanging around, and they're not all of this building, but some of the community. Okay. And we happen to have pictures of show bills that were on the walls originally that were sold, and we got photos of them and we enlarged it. So we got a lot of those hanging up, and they're fascinating.
They are.
We have one from an individual that, this is an interesting story. So he was an actor. Okay. And he was disfigured in World War I. So you think about that, it was right in the middle of the heyday of theater.
Oh, yeah.
Became a playwright, wrote 150 plays. Oh, wow. And I thought, that's just a story. Right. No, his nephew sent us a manuscript of a book he was writing, and there's a chapter about the Pratt Theater, and he said, no, he wrote 150 plays.
That's amazing.
So I Googled him, and I found on eBay a couple repros of plays that he had done. Oh, wow. So I got those in here, and it's named Robert Sherman's on the bottom. Well, there's articles in the library where he married an actress on the stage at Pratt. Oh. And there's stories about the procession down the aisle and what she wore. And so the ceremony took place up in the Pratt. Isn't that a
Oh
cool
my,
story?
that is, because I can just imagine what it looked like
Yeah.
back when in its heyday, and just in all its glory. And oh my God, I can only imagine. Right, girls? Like the train, just you know, the train of the dress just flowing down as she walks up to the stage. Oh my gosh.
So it's
Amazing.
a shell right now, but you can see what it must have been like. It's
Absolutely.
clean. And when it was built, it was designed and built by an architect named Leon Lumper. And his sons were also architects. That year he built 7 theaters,
Wow.
and he said this was the most magnificent. And they have stories about the gold leafers coming in and doing the frescoes. So at one point in time, it was pretty cool for a small rural town nestled on the canal.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, did folks come in by canal boat to do their shows and stuff?
Excellent question. So
Don't encourage
we're
it.
now. If you look out the front windows, you can see the canal. That's how close we are. It's what's called an alley now between us and the next building, and then there's a canal, of course. Well, that was a commerce. That was storefronts. A building that connects to this that wasn't destroyed in the fire had 4 saloons in it and a hotel for actors and actresses.
Oh my gosh.
So they did, and a lot of the troops would come in on canal boats. Some would come on the railway, which is just to the south of us.
Okay.
A lot of them traveled by rail at the time. But you're right, it weren't trucks. You didn't bring a circus act or any kind of
That
act
really
on
was a
a
good
truck.
question.
They came on canal and on the rail.
Okay.
And so we heard they had fire animals up on the stage. They recreated a fire engine at one point in time. Now, these are fire engines you will pull with horses.
Yeah.
And they got it all the way up those stairs because you guys, you got to think. Now, the picture that I have on the slide for the investigation tonight, like you go through that door in that picture, and it's the narrow,
It is.
steep, like that's the front entrance. I mean, it's amazing. And then you think part of those, part of the Opera House stairs are kind of the same. Then they get real wide, which I think is awesome because it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, it does. So there's a door on stage.
Yes.
If you look at one of the walls, you can see there's no window, but there's a big plank door.
Yes.
And that opened up, and the pulley is still up on top, the pipe that supported it, and they would hoist things up from the alley. And they would pull it with horses, pull it up, stagehands would bring it in and drop it in, and they get it on the stage. And you talk about the stairwell, where you're talking about how it narrows down.
Yeah.
Well, originally, it was wide all the way, because those restrooms were put in.
Oh,
Probably after the theater.
You're right, that's true, because it was
That whole thing was open, so you would go up, big stairwell, turn, and go up.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
And then you would exit on either side of the stage, an orchestra pit, and go down to the understage area and dressing rooms,
Yes.
which is the business that's called the wet shop, Rusty.
Yes. Yep.
That was the understage area.
That's great. That's so cool. This
So
place is really fun, you guys.
I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, so
Do share.
you might know something about this. You might know something I don't know.
I don't know anything.
So
I don't want.
you go down those 2 stairwells to
Yes.
exit, right?
Mhm.
So at the bottom of one stairwell, there's like a room, and it goes out to what used to be the understage area. And we had to strip the wall to make a firewall. When we stripped the wall, we got it down to plaster, and there was a hole up there for an old stove. So these places were heated with like small coal stoves, like a bucket a day stoves, and probably 20 of them everywhere. 8 on a floor,
Wow.
not a big. There's no big central heat,
Okay.
and they would stoke those all the time. That's how we heat it. So
Makes
there's a
sense.
hole for one of those, and then you took a careful look at the plaster, and there were pencil etchings on the wall. And you look at it just right, and you can kind of see the outline of 4 or 5 heads. They look like presidential heads.
Oh.
Now they're hard to see, but you can see them.
Yes.
So we had to strip the floor, and in the floor, there's a whole bunch of poke holes in the floor, and it's right next to where this hole is for the chimney. Would have been what I thought is there was a stove there and the chimney up there.
Okay.
So I just got thinking about what I made out of all this evidence.
Right.
I'm a keen detective,
Right.
So
He's on the case.
then we have somebody come in, and they're talking about an individual that worked in that area and had a clear connection, knew the name, mentioned the name, and the job was to sit there and stoke the stove. And I assume those holes were from a poker like this.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what it looked like.
Yes.
So it hadn't gotten down to the point of who etched it, but I could imagine somebody sitting there doing that.
Right.
A couple months later. So we get that information.
Right.
A couple months later,
Okay.
somebody comes in, they're talking, they give this individual's name. He used to work here doing stuff, and like a young lad. Same name. 3 times out of the blue came the name. And honestly, I made up that whole, I never told anybody what I thought happened in that corner. I just figured
Right.
working, you work here late at night, you just kind of get thinking yourself, you got nothing else to do,
Yes. Yes.
but once in a while you hear the chains dragging across the floor and stuff.
Oh boy.
But other than that-
That's always a fun time. No big deal.
but fascinating to me.
Yes.
It's just fascinating.
I think that's amazing. I know what you're talking about. I had some great interaction down in that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, I did.
Yes. So Kristie's been here before. This is my first trip. And Tara was asking if we talked about the guard room, and we did hit that lightly. And
Something small.
if
that
you
could
could
add
take
to the
us
garden.
up to that, that's
You
awesome.
want to hear about the guard room?
I do.
Just a little story.
Mike's got this look in his eye right now.
Oh, I
Yes.
already got to go up to the guard room and kind of look at some of Yes.
Impressive?
Yes. And I took some pictures, and I'm kicking myself for not taking the big DSLR camera with me today and just taking my phone.
Before I tell you just a little story, I mean, it's not a major story about the guard room, but the significance of the guard room. So we did a couple of fundraisers I told you about. We would do mini tours, and then we did Erie Canal Days years ago when we were doing things with different vendors, and we had a couple of reenactors in the guard room. And one of them was a gentleman that taught at the local high school, and he would do a Civil War days and stuff. He's really into it. He went up there and he said, wow, this is really something. He said, mind if I call some of my friends? I said, no. So about a week later, he said, can we go up tomorrow? So 4 individuals from state organization came up and looked at it. Well, the Grand Army of the Republic, GAR, became Sons of the Union Army in 1954 by declaration of Congress. Interesting side fact is, Grand Army of the Republic is responsible for the pension system in the United States because there were so many casualties from the Civil War, and people were going home maimed without limbs, and so they actually pushed through Congress the original pension system, first in the world.
Wow.
That was a GAR. So he showed it. They came in. They were representatives of that organization. They were stunned. The next day, it was on their website. So all the pictures up there of all the medallions and stuff, because it's on the 3rd floor. When they were on the 1st or 2nd floor,
We've been in here I've been in here for at least 2 hours at this point. And the temperature just did a major tank.
It did.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so that as you guys saw Kristie, and I'm like, all right, yeah, the ceiling fan's going.
Yeah, but it's been the same.
The windows are behind me, but the
Like-
wind is coming
Yeah.
towards me
Yeah.
behind the camera. So
Well, there's an individual that might be involved. That was my other story.
Yeah.
Add to this. So it was on their website the next day because when they were on the 1st floor, they were taken out and made into strip closets. Once in a while, one survived. It was a really impressive freestanding.
Okay.
But most of the GAR rooms are gone.
Okay.
Because this is on the 3rd floor, nobody messed with it. Landowners used it for cutting shades, and there was a tin shop on the other side of the wall, and storage. That's why it survived. The medallions are still up there. And the damage you see is mainly from the heavy trucks going up and down Main Street. And one of our ideas is this upcoming year is to salvage them. So the story is, so there's a meeting room of veterans of the Civil War. So you've got to think about, 1885, 20 years out of the war. If they fought, they were 20 years old. They're in their 40s, maybe 50s, and then they met for however long they met up there, which was a number of years.
Right.
Different groups used that room.
Right.
So we had somebody that had an herb shop over there, and she said, I am very uncomfortable going down this hallway and going to the restrooms at the end. I said, what do you mean? She said, it just feels weird. So, my answer is put more brighter lights.
Sorry, I was distracted for some reason in that direction.
Well,
so I'm listening.
So
It's starting to happen.
so anyway, basically, she had some friends up. She had a psychic come up and she said, "Oh yeah, there's something down there." So they did a cleansing thing and everything. So this was several years ago, probably 5-6 years ago.
Wow.
I didn't think much about it. And I know it when I walk through. I've been in this building day and night, the cellars, the dirt cellars up above the opera house all by myself. And I'm just accustomed. You know, the building groans, creaks, twangs, just like I do, So.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So
Sure.
somebody came up to the investigation, and usually they hear about that. They want to check out the room. They said, "Man, there's an individual here by the bottom of the stairs to the GAR room." So several investigators have keyed in on this person that wasn't a general, but they all call him the general. So they didn't know quite, but they got it in this hall. Now, this is the interesting part of the story is the stairway to go up there was reversed. So when it was a meeting room, you would come in from the front of the building, you go in a door, and you would go up, okay? Well, now you walk the hallway and you come up. We had somebody came in about 2 weeks ago, and she stopped right there at that slop sink door and said, "There's an individual watching this doorway." It was the original door to the GAR room. And it's not anything bad or negative. It's just like probably a military mind of protecting the door to their meeting room.
I don't think that I was in that room or went to that room when I was here last.
It's
There were only
interesting.
certain areas that we went to, and
Oh,
I
you
don't
may
think that
not
was
have.
one of them.
You may not have.
So we might have to cover
So,
that tonight.
but isn't that an interesting?
Yes, and there's a peephole in the original door that's up there.
Okay, wait. La 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 la.
That's it.
So was it run as a speakeasy at one time?
Well, so hold the phone.
All right, this is where London leaves, and I take a walk. So
Hold the phone. Because when I was distracted looking over here earlier,
Yes.
I saw like a mug of beer come up out of the floor. Where is this room you're talking about? Because I was looking at the floor and it came up from over here in this corner, and Mike's got this look on his face already.
Now it's interesting you talk about, and you said speakeasy.
Yeah.
Because we've got other people that have talked about a speakeasy, maybe in the lower floors of this building, which we're in the Pratt. The GAR room is in the day building next to us.
Okay.
Connected to this, Landauer's connected them.
Okay.
So you kind of think you're all in the same place.
Right.
We've had many people talk about, and not from the history records, that there was a speakeasy, a major speakeasy in this building. And I don't know what floor, I don't know where,
Okay.
So we need to break out the thermals and figure out where the hidden wall is.
Get on that.
yeah.
Not right this minute.
So this room we're in, I'm walking past the doorway, I have a friend of mine, he's K3 in the car. And he said, we were going up to the Opera House. He's the one that actually got the emails from the guys that talked about the balcony collapsing, because
Okay.
they were older at the time, and they
Right.
were working with their fathers and grandfathers. But he said, "Hey, that was Donatelli's barbershop." The door as we walked in here. I said, "Oh, that's interesting." We go to the library, and the art is about this performance where they had 1,000 people upstairs, and the
Wow.
guy that had the barbershop couldn't get out of his barbershop because the floor sagged and pinched the door closed. And then I thought,
You mentioned.
it was Donatelli's barbershop. And the door is right in the middle of the building. I said, that really happened, and that was Donatelli's. So as I researched, he was also in the orchestra pit band, and he was a conductor for several years.
Really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
So just cool. And
Somebody was just right next to Mike, just so you know.
so,
Here's another interesting thing. So you guys always hear me talk about my puck, and I'm running my puck. I don't know if you guys can see the screen
It
or
was the
not.
funniest thing he did.
But right now it's showing 4G with 5 bars. Correct? You can
What's that?
you can
What?
see that says 5 bars on here at 4G.
Yes, wait. Yes.
Okay. So our program that we use tells me what kind of signal I'm getting to send out, and it's barely at 1 bar. And these two pieces of equipment are sitting on top of each other.
Yeah,
They're right
they're
next to
like
each other.
they're
They're almost
really-
touching.
Yeah.
So I find it very ironic that I have got probably the best signal we've had on any show, and yet our signal going out to you guys. So keep an eye on that. I'm watching the cell phones, and I'm also watching the signal. I've also got a baby monitor upstairs, so I'm watching upstairs. I mean, we've got a couple of folks that are here with us.
He's a guy. He likes to play with his toys in his
Yeah,
bag.
that are up there. So
you guys see him looking all over like this. He does it when we travel too.
you know, so I'm checking the room upstairs.
Yep.
You know, see what's going on and if there's any change. Yeah, the opera house upstairs.
Yeah.
And DJ and his wife are up there, so at least they were there. I still see feet.
Are you sure it's theirs? Just saying.
Yeah, those are feet. They're kicking them.
I didn't say they
Wave to the
weren't
camera.
just-
Wave to the camera, guys. You're there. Yeah.
All right.
So
Awesome.
they're watching from upstairs.
So since that time,
Yes.
there have been steel I-beams put in the floor that we actually saw when we were doing all the patches. I told you to patch the floor. and all.
Right.
So
Right.
that was fixed, but it's
Okay.
just a fascinating story.
It is.
You get all these little pieces and say, yeah. That makes sense.
And I think it's great too that there are still people in the area that can help give pieces to that puzzle.
Yeah.
You know, that are around that really did know stories that were passed down, people who were still around, even the documents, because a lot of times, you know, documentation's gone or lost
Oh, yeah,
in
absolutely.
some way. So I think it's really wonderful. You
Yeah,
know.
one thing we've not really found are any photos of the inside of the opera house.
Really?
Isn't that odd?
That is odd.
Got some photos of the outside. The
Yeah.
front of the building is actually in the Library of Congress. They did a historic survey in 1964, and it was one of 4 locations in Orleans County.
Okay.
I don't know why, significant buildings. They did a cobblestone and some other things.
So the pictures behind you, then they were done after, correct?
So these pictures, yes, this is a friend of ours, did a photo of the stage, enhanced it and sent it into Finger Lakes Performing Arts show, the big one they do in Rochester once a year.
Yep.
They accepted it, same photo right there. So that year, out of 100 pictures, they accepted 3 of Walter's. And
Hey, I got to get myself on camera once in a while.
You can-
yeah,
you gotta
then
go
he actually got a grant from Go Art, which is a Genesee, Orleans County art, supporting the arts, partly, it's like an not-for-profit, partly state funded. Anyway, they gave him a grant and he did a whole gallery of photos of different things about the Pratt. Like he did an old ticket stub. So when you walk around and you see some of these
Yeah.
cool photos, Walter did those. And
It's
you look over
amazing.
here at this. So those are 2 he did. That's the entrance on Main Street. And then this is the gas valve, because there were gas footlights. So that's the original, a friend of mine said the original, basically light control panel. Because that's what they used with the gas valves. And then that thing next to it is a chute, which is a weight box. It had a counterweight for the curtain.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
And the weight
cool.
box is down inside it, and it would
All right.
go back a lid, up and down, and that would raise the lid of the curtain.
Very interesting.
So some of that rigging, we're also going to recreate.
That's great. All right.
All
Wow,
right.
There's a lot going on.
So-
There's a lot happening. A lot did happen.
Like I said, we got somebody watching upstairs that's watching live. DJ's upstairs. He says a shadow just walked down the floor area and cast on the wall.
Down here?
No, upstairs.
Oh.
They're upstairs sitting in the chairs.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, in the opera house. Okay.
Yes. So
Awesome. So, real quick then, and I'm sure Mike would love to have you walk around with him and
Is he gonna walk
see the
around?
place. He's going to walk around and give a quick tour,
Okay.
just so people can see briefly the rooms and things like that before we go dark and we start the investigation. But so tomorrow, the psychic fair, the event, vendor fair. What time tomorrow? What are the times for tomorrow?
11 o'clock begins,
Okay.
and then, as you know, there's a gallery for 2 hours.
Yes.
Did I
2
mention
o'clock.
that before?
2 to 4. Maybe once or twice. Yeah.
Basically 11 to 5.
11 to 5.
And then-
Okay.
I mean, and I'll tell you what, if there's a lot of people and they're very interested, folks, I'm sure will stay here longer.
I'm sure.
You know, and if you get here earlier, the doors will be open.
Excellent.
So it's really
Yes.
a low key. Come on, and if you don't want to spend any money, you don't have to. We'd
That's
love for people to come in and see what it's all about. We just did a tour of the 40 vendors that are in the brasserie.
Right.
A lot of the folks are from Albion, but a lot of them are. Maybe about a quarter of them had seen the inside of the Pratt and never the Opera House.
Right.
So we took a tour a couple weeks ago, and they were just amazed, and it was such because they're talking all their friendly. You got to see it. That's what they're talking about.
Right.
You know,
Right.
all these years when they talk about the Pratt.
And you hear all the stories, and but you just never. It's different when you see it for yourself, right?
Well, we had Senator Ort and Assemblyman Howard toured it as part of a grant program that's going on in Albion, and Steve Hawley's been in it, but not this part, in quite a long time. As I said, his office is across the street from us.
Yes. Yeah.
Senator Ort never had been. They were just stunned.
Yeah.
As impressed by the GR room as they were by the Opera House. Now, they were absolutely amazed by the Opera House that it was here, because you can't believe it's in this building. But I think they're both into Veterans Affairs and supporting the veterans. So I think they were just really moved by the GAR room.
They just came downstairs.
Okay, I was going to say. All right, just making sure. Never know.
And that's why they use security cameras up everywhere.
But do you see that I don't flinch? Because it's not abnormal to me.
Well, and see, to hear things that clearly, but I couldn't make a connection, and I was so involved in listening to you, to me, it was like abnormal for a second. It doesn't always happen like that for me. So to me, it will get my attention usually, you know, but oh wow, that's so funny. Sorry. So
it is kind of neat for people to come in and just see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just it's about promoting, people understanding what's here, and you know, we just want good things to happen.
Right. Well, and two, you know, you guys, you come and visit a place like this, and you might get your own idea. Hey, I do this. This is my business. You know, can I come in here and try this out, or rent this space, or hold, you know, I don't know, any kind of event and do whatever, and that really helps you, and it helps the center, and awesome. So 11 to 5 tomorrow, you guys. Please come out and see it. Like he said, you don't have to spend any money to come and do this, but please promote. Please share this. Please come out and support it. And just so he can't argue with me, I am putting this on live now. Tickets are $25 for my gallery reading from 2 to 4, and all the proceeds are going to the Pratt Center.
That's not
so
that is set in stone. That's why we have it live on the video. We made sure to do it.
I'm pretty sure they just mess with the electronics in here when you said that.
Absolutely not. So we're happy to do it. So please come out and please come and see us. And you get to meet Mike and myself in person. You lucky dogs, you. No, we will be here. So we'd love to meet all of you and come and see you. And please come out. It's going to be a great day tomorrow.
And I will say, if you've not met them, don't miss that opportunity. It will be wonderful.
Thank you.
You'll love to meet them and be around them.
So we're going to get the phone up and running.
All right.
We're going to use.
Thank you for spending this time and talking with us and telling us all about it. We appreciate it. Thank you. So the boys are going to take you for a little while. Christie's going to go kind of do her thing, and we'll see you in a little
figure out where she's going to drop in. So, all right. So there we're on that side.
This is his new toy. He just loves
so dark.
It's a gimbal. Oh, where's my drink? Every time we say gimbal, we get a drink. That's a whole other story. I'll tell you tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move us from the stream.
The little kid with a new gadget. It's hysterical. But it really is the coolest thing because it really makes life so much easier, and it really. Yeah, it really helps us, especially with the live stuff.
All right. So, all right.
Guys, see you in a little while.
So, we're up. We're moving. Mike and I are going to take a walk here. And that's the wonderful thing about here. I've got flashlights. You got cameras. I am turned off on the laptop, so we're not sucking energy.
All right.
I've got Puck. So, come on, you. Why are you? You're being temperamental. There we go. So you guys have, this is basically like your office back in here?
This is, we call it a hospitality center.
Okay.
So when folks are coming in here to do anything, but mainly investigations or if there's an affair going on and people need a place to crash or put their stuff in, it's a kitchenette. They can lock stuff out. It's a secure area, but also kind of like you can just relax.
All right.
So this area, we're on the second floor, so people would have just come up the stairway from Main Street.
Yep.
So this is the original stairway. We actually put those doors in. They had commercial aluminum doors in, those are the original doors. What looked like rubber treads on here are the original cast iron treads. So these are solid wood handrails that are original.
Okay.
So they would have come up here.
Guys, I'm going to switch cameras just for a second. Yep. Just because that other one was not working up to. And we'll fix it here. So, StreamYard changed some other stuff on me the other night. Camera one. That's a lot brighter. There we go. All right, folks, you still with us? We're back on. Hello, Bigfoot and on. All right. So we got folks coming in from YouTube, Facebook. Thank you. We are at the Pratt Event Center. I'm here with Mike, the owner, and he's giving us a nice little tour. So this is the entryway. I like this cool, setup there. So
And that's actually a puzzle that a friend of ours did. It's a project, 10,000 piece puzzle. They were looking for a place to mount it. We said,
there's London. She's back. So, wow. It's is that an original poster?
That's an original.
I wasn't born then. I wasn't born then.
You weren't?
No.
Well, this is our 70s hallway.
Okay.
And so we have a couple original posters, and I'll show you which ones are. So that's a Janis Joplin that's original. We have a lot of albums that are all obviously original, and this Joe Cocker's original. And Leon Russell's up here is an original poster.
That's cool.
And this is just, the restrooms are kind of done in a 70s motif, and we didn't want to completely redo them, so we thought, yeah, you know what, we'll do a fun hallway that just kind of goes with it all.
Reminds me of my days of growing up and hanging out at the House of Guitars.
Yep, I knew it well. Absolutely.
So did I. That's my old neighborhood. So a little.
So what would you like to want to check out the GAR
Let's go to the JR room. That would be awesome. So now you've got a dance studio in here now. Here's our other wonderful people that didn't know they were going to get on.
One of the dancers working out right
run. So this is the room we're going to end up using for your vendors tomorrow, correct?
It is.
Okay. We got some vendors set up. I threw my TV over there already, so we're going to play some episodes. Yeah, some cool stuff set up.
This was a dance studio for over 10 years, and recently with they just retired out of business. We left it vacant. We had somebody that's coming in and putting a low impact fitness center in.
Awesome.
So we're really excited about it because in some of her ideas and what she's involved in fit in with the community of merchants that are here. So on that wall, that old paper that looks old and dirty is left like that. It's been coated because it's from around 1895 to 1900.
Wow.
So we left that uncovered and just sealed it to keep the dust down and the baseboard sealed.
That's really
Just to salvage it.
all right.
Okay, so now
Behind the blue door.
we're in a different building.
Okay.
So this is a day-and-day building. This is built as mercantile. This stairway, like the Pratt, used to go down to Main Street.
Okay.
You go in the basement, there's a massive piece of sandstone. That was the threshold. Somewhere, probably in the 20s or 30s, they separated it and have two separate entrances. So they were cousins, and they each built half of this. And it's funny because it's little things are different. Like the flooring's different one from the other. The molding's a little bit different. They got along, but they just had their own ideas. In this hallway, there it was actually closed off when we bought the property. It was filled with debris, and we opened it up and began using it. And when we fixed the holes in the wall, we realized it was horsehair plaster, which is pretty old. So we saved it again. That's why this is a card. This is salvaged and coated, so you can get a look at it.
This is really awesome.
Yeah,
And that horsehair is just.
Yeah, horsehair mixed in with the plaster, the binder.
Yep.
So we salvaged as much of the historic fabric as we could. A lot of the doors that had transoms on it, we had to take out for fire to make firewalls. So we were able to put in fire-rated drywall and put fluorescent paint on them, as opposed to having to put a steel door every place.
Okay.
So like the doors you and I were in when we came out of the room where we were talking.
Yep.
That's why they're still able to be wooden. So Again, still a day building. These are the old mercantile shells. What's interesting is this rail would have gone all the way to the front of the building.
Wow.
And the ladder that you can see, a rolling library type ladder.
Yep.
Rolled along on, and you would access the inventory. So somewhere, I don't know.
Yeah, can you guys
40s,
see the channel is running right there along the top? That's kind of awesome.
So the stairwell was put in, and you think about it, you know, when people were coming in the canal and they were coming down the rail, they were coming in the main entrance. As time went by, they wanted to access these businesses from the back. They probably cut this in so you could get out into the back parking lot, because there's a parking lot behind the building.
Okay.
And at one point were stables, carriage houses in.
Okay, so there was carriage houses back there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a parking lot back
So
there.
they put this so you can come right out from the back. So originally, there was no good access from the back.
Okay.
So that was done probably, I don't know when, 1920, 1930 maybe.
It's just amazing.
But pretty cool. You kind of see a touch in here, like there's some of the old wallpaper.
Again, history is always awesome, guys. It's, you know, my big thing when we go into these locations, and it's just absolutely amazing.
So, same
So-
thing, a lot of the old wainscoting that was originally in here, but you know, at one point, there wouldn't have been indoor bathrooms here. But even if it was done at the turn of the century, the last century, you know, we did still try to save everything from all the different eras. So now this new door, fire door, I told you the story about how it changed the stairwell.
Mhm.
So this is the second one.
Okay.
You and I passed that door when we came through here. That's got a slop sink in it. That was probably the original door, and you would have come up this direction.
Okay.
So now we're doing just the opposite. This.
So guys, we're going up to the GAR room now. And we'll try to, somewhere I've got some flashlights and stuff while we're figuring things out here. That's infrared. I'll give us some, but yeah. So how's everybody doing tonight? So Kristie's downstairs getting ready to start her side of the investigation. That's blue light. Actually, that doesn't work too bad. It'd be interesting to look at some of the original paints and stuff. So we're going to keep that in a pocket. So I'm going to try a little IR light on the wallpaper, and somewhere in my pockets, there we go. We got some light. So we're coming.
So this was walled off. You mentioned peephole. So see the peephole in that door? This area had a completely separate stairwell hidden from the general room where they would be. And I can think that maybe those that ran the organization would come up this stairwell and meet in this room, and they could look at the membership out that peephole. Pretty significant. We had a village historian that came up here, and he said he'd never been up here. And he said, I've always wondered, he said, a lot of people theorize about the secretness of the GAR organization.
Mhm.
And he said, apparently it was, or they wouldn't have had doors like that. Because I don't think anybody else used this particular room. So like the Masons had their own place, the KSC had their own place, the Elks had their own place. No one else met in here. It's just the GAR. But this wallpaper, again, we've had it dated in 1885 to 1895.
Some cool wallpaper.
It's just unbelievable.
That's what I'm looking for.
This room.
Yeah, you can see all the inks, guys. Oh, here, Mike.
Yeah.
You really can. You come back up again if you look over my shoulder there. So that's using an IR light. So you really pick out that detail that's coming up out of there. So this stuff is just amazing. And you guys ask sometimes why I carry an infrared light with me, and you can find some of that hidden stuff, those hidden gems that would have been done, or if there were, you know, some kind of other stuff left on walls.
The detail.
You're gonna pick up, and this is all on our YouTube channel. So if you want to share this with your your folks, but you can see that some of this detail will come up. And if somebody were to use, like, see that? So anybody see that? The detail, I'm gonna get my head out of the way. See how the detail pops on there, guys? That's really cool. So for me standing here, there's a lot of other little writings and stuff. That might be some of the inks or, you know, the glues and stuff. But no, there's palm trees that are, see the palm trees that are in there?
Absolutely.
So.
Definitely. This room, dark. I'm not sure I'm going to get lights.
Somewhere around here. You know, hard it?
Yeah.
Oh, here.
This is a decent insignia up here. To give you an idea.
There we go. All right. Turn that one off. There. When you're used to doing things a couple different hands at a time. So here we go, guys. Here's the insignia from the GAR. Let's see if we can turn a flashlight up here a little bit more. Anybody have any questions? Can everybody hear me okay? So kind of ironic that that star is done the way it's done there, and then you turn it upside down, and that's what you get for a sheriff's star. Oop, that's me.
So that's some information that as we've had tours. And of course, the three insignias on the walls are our fraternity, loyalty, and charity.
And again, there's the information we're talking about there on the influence of the pensions and veterans care. Now, why was it a Casanova unit and we are here? So
they had a lot of insignias, when you can see them on the ceiling, were actually put in, and they were specific to the groups that met here.
Okay.
And the battles that they fought.
Okay.
So everything was individualized in these rooms.
So guys, I took some pictures earlier. I will post them to our Facebook page and our Instagram with Mike's permission. Stuff we took. So again, great photo here. And again, we'll switch to blue, see if we get a little better. We're getting a little feedback there. So really interesting. See if we can grab a little bit here. Again, with the black light. Nothing extra written in there, but we can see that these stars, and those weren't hand painted, or it's not, is it hand painted wallpaper?
No, they're papered.
Papered.
Those are cut and put on.
So, I mean, the ceiling is still all that. So it's really cool. Hi, Kristie. Kristie's now watching from Facebook downstairs. So, so this is the GAR room. So, interesting. Very interesting.
There's a great amount of significance to this room alone.
Yeah.
We're just fortunate. Buildings were sold together, and we ended up with both so that we could see both areas.
That's not a bit up here.
There's the London coming up.
Yes, I did, because there's a bit. Oh, you guys have done a lot of work since I was up here. Yes.
So
yes, because there's a big ballroom in there.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful. It's been so long, guys. This is an amazing room we have to come up here. I thought they were describing something different. Kat and I, for those of you who follow, had a lot of activity
Micah.
up here when Kat and I were here together. Just the two of us girls.
Up here.
Yes,
Yeah.
up here. We were up here. I didn't realize this is amazing up here.
You know what? And it's
Yeah.
interesting. We're just fortunate. We were just talking about it. It's completely different from the Opera House. This is a place to visit in itself, and you said, you had activity, and that's completely different from the Opera House.
And I can tell you that now I do remember what happened up here, and you are correct, because we kept getting mixed messages from him, and we also determined that No, yes, they called him General. There is a man that was called General, but he was not actually in the military, or he was not at least a general in the military. So stay tuned, you know, when darkness falls, you never know what's gonna happen when that show comes out, but that's the episode that we taped here.
That's
I
fascinating.
totally did not realize that's what you called this room.
Hi,
But
Micah.
when I
Yeah.
go into my zone, a lot of times, that's what happens too, so I'm glad, because then everything's more authentic.
Like, here's another interesting
This is
thing
beautiful
is
up here.
I noticed these horseshoes when I came up here earlier. Can you guys see the horseshoes? That's kind of ironic to be putting horseshoes up top. And I really got to look back into that whole, you know, the good luck.
Well, now
So-
this was a tin shop at one time, and people said no, but yeah, we found old brochures in the walls and stuff in the floorboards, little remnants of things. So this literally on the third floor was a tin shop, and I think the horseshoes, well, people put them upside down. It's supposed to symbolize your luck doesn't run out.
Right.
Right. Those horses may have been pulling the pulleys that were on, you know, tripods that they would build to bring the timbers and stuff up here. When
Right.
this was built in 1882, it was all horsepower, right? So why else would there be horseshoes up here? This wasn't, there were blacksmith shops lower, but not on the third floor. It was a tin shop.
There were blacksmith shops though in the building.
There was one in this building, and then when I told you about the stone building, it had saloons in it.
Yeah.
At one point, it was 3 saloons and 1 blacksmith.
Okay.
So it's just interesting, and then no one knows the story about the horseshoes. And there's like wrapped on the bottom.
Yep.
And did they put them to hang things on? Did they put them because they were part of when they built it? Don't know.
So you're saying originally this staircase would have come up this way,
I am.
or not this way. It would have gone that way. It would have gone towards that window.
You would have ended up down there, and
Yep.
I believe made a right into a hallway that, with a doorway that went into that small room with a cool wallpaper, right?
Right.
In here, and then this would have been
Their meeting room. Okay.
like the leading council, let's say.
Okay.
I don't know what their organization was like. And then that was a membership room. So these folks could come out and go in there, but they would be coming up and going in that door. They'd be coming up there.
And the tin shop would have been on the
Tin shop
rest
was
of
in here.
at the same time, they think?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think the tin shop was that long ago.
Okay.
And then this wall, which is a heavy plank wall.
Yep.
Is not original.
Okay.
This bay would have been brick. It would have gone out another 20 feet, and there was probably a fire. And what they did is build a lumber wall, and the truss that's up the top of it is not really an end truss. It's just like these.
Right.
So they shortened the building, put this plank wall up, and then and we're talking about 1910. We don't,
Right.
you know, I'm talking years ago, because normally that wall itself is a historic wall to save. If you have a plank wall house, that's a cool house.
Right.
So that wall, and to meet the fire code, they actually wanted us to take it down and build it out of steel, and we did not do that. We actually elected to build a fireproof wall on the outside and put cement siding on it.
Okay.
And leave that wall there, because we thought it was significant.
Right.
And it looks so nice.
Yeah, that's
Not original. So that's a remodel job.
interesting.
The story of the.
I'm just trying to figure out where he would have furnished. So some of you guys know I make knives on the side. Hey, that's kick to go over and look at that, you know, subscribe thing over on Instagram. I'm looking for where the smoke would go. So that's kind of interesting. That where his stoves would have been.
I know.
It probably was going to probably on that back wall.
Well, it probably did burn.
Yeah.
You know, I honestly, you can see a little char marks. No, we've not found a historical account of it, but the wall was clearly chopped off and that was shortened. And through different people coming up, a lot smarter than I am, they've said, yeah, I think that's what happened here. That's what, you know what, there's maps called Sanborn maps of old properties.
Yep.
And most of the Sanborn maps have this going all the way out. So
Okay.
we know it shortened. It was a long time ago, but nevertheless, just interesting information.
Sounds good. Now, can we go over the Opera House there? And I think London, Miss Christie's over there, and hopefully she's got things set up. She's been watching.
Yeah.
You know, this really does make things going downstairs. Whoa, there's a temperature change. Just coming down a flight of stairs. These old buildings. They were definitely a little hardier back in the day than we are. Less in our air conditioning. So with having a church in the other hallway, do they seem to have any stuff going on over there? Or nothing they're going to say?
The church is fairly new. And they've actually now their main sanctuary is downstairs. But pretty okay, real straight up people and did not have any.
But I'm saying nothing's interfering with their services or they're not coming in and find things moved or.
No, they have not. So I told you about the browser.
Yeah.
They have this spot in the middle of it. So one day, we've always had orbs and photos. And you know, I say, oh yeah, everybody's got orbs. And no, it's dust, it's this, it's that, it's the other thing. So the manager calls me and says, you got to see what came in on our security last night. So the security, that's like an orb. It's fluttery. And it goes, and bam, gone, and then come back in. So, you know, people always say, oh, it's a bad, it's a this, it's a that. Now, we've had them upstairs when it's 15 degrees, so clearly it's not, but very interesting, but was always over a spot, and they never put it together to recently, where there was always an odd piece of merchandise in the middle of their floor. And it didn't always come from this vendor. And they would find stuff misplaced, and like it had all fallen off a shelf or something, but it wasn't. So when they see this thing on their security, I said it was really cool. Well, you know what we can do? We're going to go up to the Opera House through that room I told you about.
Yes.
With the etchers on it.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be.
So, and the other thing is, I told us earlier, this is where you're going to be doing the other folks that are going to be doing the readings will be
Some of these side rooms.
in these side rooms.
Yep.
So those private readings, guys, will be done in these side rooms. So he's got some side rooms here. So there's some cool little rooms. There's just a lot of great art. Oh, this is a really cool room. Somebody uses this on a daily,
Nope.
or this is your office and
Nope,
kind of hang
that's
out.
set up
That's for tomorrow.
for tomorrow.
Awesome.
And then this is, we have people that use this room occasionally,
Oh,
but if
cool.
need be, we will use it tomorrow. But as you said, some of the artwork, so I told you about the posters. So
Mhm.
that was an original show bill. It was on the wall here someplace. Of course,
Okay.
it would have been 5 by 4 feet.
Yep.
And then this was taken from a photograph that was taken when it was auctioned off. And this is a photo that's from 1964. This is the one that's in the Library of Congress of the front of the Pratt Opera House. And you study it, you can kind of see the stairway going up. You can see the offices we're in, where the professional offices at the time. This is the room that we were just meeting in.
Okay.
It's right here. So we're down in this hallway right now. And then you will see this fire escape when we're up there. This is a day-and-day building. So even at this point in time, 64, they'd already removed the center entrance.
Okay.
So this entire block was replaced when it burned out in the 1800s. And again, these are actually on the walls now. This is a playbill that's stuck on a brick wall down here. And they would glue them on the wall, and they'd glue another one over them. This is again, a poster of one of the ones that we photographed. This is same thing. Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. So, Kristie, if you want to grab your flashlights or whatever gear you need for upstairs.
But this is an original seating chart. One of the original pieces of paper that we ended up with. New Grand Opera House.
Okay.
Before the name change, before they enlarged it. And then this is a horseshoe-shaped balcony. These black dots, when we get up there, I'm going to show you, they're cast iron posts, steel posts, that supported the balcony. They were never taken out. They're down, flat,
Yep.
but they were never taken out because they're so darn heavy. They're incredibly heavy, but they would have supported this. So these box seats are there. We're going to walk through this box seat, that box seat's here. We're looking at the stage. Here's the orchestra pit. And then these are the footlights that we will look at. And these were all the gas fixtures that are no longer there. So this was before 1904.
Okay.
So again, that's one of the programs from the Grand Opera House. That's what we're going to see up on the wall.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions right now? Drop in the comments and I'll be looking. This is one of the other stores that they've got going here, which has got some really cool stuff.
So this is under stage area. So this was the dressing room, and then after performance, the audience would come down into here and mingle with the actors and actresses.
So this was a
there's two
reception room.
exits that would come down, and they would be in this room. And then that part that's lower that we just walk under, that's the orchestra pit. So when we go up top, you'll understand that's dropped down because obviously it was lower than the floor of the opera house. Now we just looked at the one photograph of this. There it is. So that was put on, when they were performing. Stagehands or actors or actresses.
That's really cool.
Here. Some are just pieces, but we've got some that you can actually tell what they were. So,
and this is still part of the interior of the building. This wasn't an exterior section. So like an outside patio or something.
No.
So
this wall wasn't here. This was here. This is here for creating safe egress.
Right.
So it was for the fire code. There's a hearth down here, and it's the tin. You can see the tin piece there.
Mm-hmm.
Went up to a grate in the orchestra pit floor. It wasn't a chimney, so they would put hot coals underneath it, I believe, and then the heat would go up into the orchestra pit, and that's why this is a stone hearth. So that's all original.
that's cool.
None of this, if you could envision, was here. These walls, this was all open. So we had to build this in to get us back. So again, all open.
And they have their own separate.
So this is one of the exits of the opera house. So this isn't the main stairway. That one that Kristie was talking about, who was kind of disjointed and
Right.
narrow. This would be the audience came down here. So this room had a couple floors on it. This wall was covered. When I talked about we had to clear the wall off because we had to hit it with a firewall clean. And that's when we found what we're going to look at on this wall. This, again, show bill over show bill over show bill was in the basement. An old door. So we brought it up. This is a piece of an old door that was someplace. And then lots of stuff that we found that was put in here.
This was all found in the basement as you
All different
little
places.
relics and
Well, like those hats were actually up next to the JAR room. And
Okay.
they look like youth hats. And maybe they were up there in a shop at one point in time. We've got a bunch of stuff like this that's not out, but look at the shoes and stuff we found on the floor of the opera house. I mean, that was clearly the fan. Those were probably all props. The stuff up here, shield and stuff, gotta be all props. Fascinating though, as we find stuff. So maybe you're black, right? You can kind of see the nose, the eye, there's a cheek, there's the eye, there's a mouth, the lips, that's a head. And here's one here.
wrong flashlight. I've got pockets full of flashlights, guys. So you are doing events, and Micah, if you go back and take a look at the beginning half of the feed, it has some stuff, but you guys can look at that. It'll come in too much. Yep, you can see it there on the camera. So actually better without the light. So there's a nose and face. It's amazing art there.
So who knows how long this was covered up? And here's a head.
Yeah.
We uncovered it accidentally because we had to clean the wall off
There's another nose there. That's
down here to hit it and seal it with a firewall. So we cleaned this right up to the wall and then notice that. And then under here, which is covered up right now with our rug, you can see a bunch of poke marks, probably from the fire stoker.
just bored, just
And I can see somebody just going like this with it and then sketching, and then that would have been the, and that goes up, there's 4 chimneys down each side of this building. They go all the way up through the roof.
okay.
And that would have been one of them.
That's cool.
You want to go up these stairs or the main stairs?
Let's go up to the main stairs.
Let me get this light.
That wall is just absolutely cool over there.
It's just something we found.
I mean, just in this one here, I mean,
So
that
that
stone
wall
masonry is crazy.
is the stone building behind it that survived the fire. I'll tell you a quick story if we have time when we go upstairs about that, the significance of the stone wall. So picture that a separate building out of stone.
Okay.
This building built out of brick. See the brick change?
Mm-hmm.
And originally it ended right there.
Okay.
So that he built a freestanding building. Ended here, empty lot, stone building. I'm going to show you the wall when we go upstairs, and you'll see the significance of it.
So, guys, a reminder: we're here at the Pratt, and look at our Instagram, look at our Facebook. We have the information on there. You can go to their Pratt's Facebook page, and there's an event here tomorrow. There is a psychic fair, and when you're ready, come on up. Yep, we're going up. So
this, let me keep the light on.
So
There it is. That is an original show bill that would have been on a wall. It is on Tongue and Groove Forest. And then it was framed. That's what they sold, 15 of them. Somebody took the photographs and we made those enlarged photographs out of.
Yep.
That was handed down to the family and they donated it to the Pratt. There's one more of them that we've located, and that's at our local library. So it's on display down there.
So, again, guys, tomorrow, Psychic Fair here starts at 11. And yeah, great vendors. Kristie's doing a gallery. And she'll be up here in a second.
Some lights.
So, we got some cool red lights in here.
That's a copy of the CD card.
Scene chart. We got some old chairs. So here's the old stage. And I'm going to try to get Kristie up here we'll do some flashlights up here. So we're going to come up on stage here. Wow. And you got some old artwork and stuff in.
So this was covered up with fireproofing, which is that tin up there,
Okay.
around 1905,
Okay.
when he expanded the theater. So we talked about the stone wall.
Yep.
That's the stone wall up here.
Okay.
So the theater, when he built it originally, was Grand Opera Theater ended here. That was the wall. This guy wanted 3 times the value for his lot, and John Pratt was a stubborn farmer. He said, I'm not going to pay that. He said, you can't build a theater with a big enough stage without it. He said, well, I will. So he did. So picture this, the stage from here to the footlights. It was crowded. He tried to build something and the village wouldn't let him because it was too small. Zip out gave it to John Pratt. So Pratt closed the theater, took the roof off, built right over the stone building that was pre-existing because it did not burn, and then had the deepest stage between Rochester and Buffalo. But they made him fire coat this wall.
Okay.
That's what the tin is. So he put that on and they reopened. So the tin was put on in about 1904, 1905. It stayed on until 8 years ago when we had a workshop for Cornell graduate students. And they came down, and one of their tasks was to identify those pieces, log them into a catalog, photograph them, and start to remove them because we had done a piece up in a corner and we saw some paperwork underneath it. Well, the stuff you were looking at is what they revealed. So this is huge because this stuff was put on before 1905. And it's everything. There's some of these, they actually come through and they put their little sticker on. Some of these are property plots, what they call. So if you're doing a play, the property manager sat here and it said, oh, act 1, I need a table and a vase or a table and a chair. Puts it out. Next act, I need a bed, something else. He put that out. And he would run go right down. If it was a long-lasting play, he would read down it, each act, and he'd put what he needed.
Okay.
And then the next time somebody came in, they glue theirs right over the top. So when these things were covered up, they were brand new. There was no historical significance to them. So they sat there from 1905 to about 2015.
Wow.
So basically, those students got to uncover these things, and how neat for them, because this is what they were going to school for. And they were just screaming. So
They were are theater majors or are they archaeology majors?
no, they were historic preservation majors.
Okay.
In urban planning. So it was right up their alley.
Okay.
Yeah. We had to do workshops. They would go one place in New York State every year, and you would put in almost like a bid. And we said, we're going to do them this, the JR room. And what they did was really grid work that and document it in case something happened. We lost a wall. We did original glazing of the windows using original historic glazing with linseed oil, and then pointing up historic stone.
Kristie, did you bring your flashlight up with you by any chance? No. Oh. Okay.
So
I thought I thought you were gonna be up here ready to go. My bad. So.
No.
All right.
All these years, you don't know me by now? Come on. You guys, I could be half a dozen listeners that'll tell you better, right?
Okay, so I guess we're gonna finish up here. She's gonna get her gear, and we will reconvene in a few. But let's finish up just here.
So catwalks.
Yep.
We removed the material from the original catwalks, which is half the depth, to repair the floor, the house floor.
Okay.
Probably put 100 patches in that, and then sanded it and patched it. Put plywood on the catwalks. The catwalks go up and over and down. And of course, that wall is signed up there as well. So the stage has to sign. Those are the gas footlights. And of course, this is the gas manifold.
That's in the picture downstairs.
Yeah, and then this is the weight box. And see all this? So this was covered in tin. So this
Micah says hello.
when you see September 26, 98, that's 1898. Yeah, it's
That's
1898.
really cool.
So as you read these, and you'll see Shorty Calhoun worked here for like 5 years. I think he was a stage carpenter, and he would sign it every year someplace. Some impressive, it looks like calligraphy to you. Just incredible handwriting, and some are just kind of carved in, and but all fascinating. And then the other side, the door jamb is filled with them. Every time I come in and start to read them, I see something different because I just haven't noticed it. I went up to work up there yesterday, and I was climbing up the wall, and I looked at a thing that was signed in 1916. Never noticed.
And then there was been the other tier coming off from up there.
There was another
balcony.
tier, horseshoe shaped, and it came surprisingly close. And those cast iron poles, were those poles I said are the black dots in the floor plan, they supported it. And so, folks, it was interesting. You see the beams along there?
Yep.
That wasn't the floor. That was the ceiling down here. The floor went up at that sharp angle.
Okay.
See where the scaffolding goes up to the little door?
Yep.
That was the floor. So you were sitting, you literally were almost touching
The ceiling.
the ceiling. And that the purpose of that was a greater angle so that the people in the back could actually see the stage. That's the whole purpose of a raked floor. So there was a space, between the ceiling and where the seats actually sat.
Okay. And down there, guys, of course, I've got my camera and I've been watching up here. These other, the canvases, local artists or stuff you guys found on the way?
Nope, local artists. And interesting story, when we had a higher rate of vacancies, we had an art project, service learning project with the school district, and they took a historic photograph, got the canvas. Most of them are brown tones, so they look old, and they did something that was similar to the photograph, and then went to the store owners and said, would you mind if we put these up in your vacant store to make the place look better? And it's interesting for people when they came through. So these all came out of stores. The program had a deadline, so they put them up for a number of months, and they took them all down. And we've been fortunate. We've been collecting them one at a time from different folks and putting them up. In fact, this ice cream soda, I just put up the folks that are in the browser, we found it wrapped up and hidden in one of the display areas behind some curtain. Didn't know it was there. So we brought it out, we put it up. So we just thought it'd be nice. You know, it adds a little bit. And it might not be there forever, but for the meantime, it's nice.
Okay, so we're going to sign out for about 10 minutes while Kristie gets her stuff and we get up here, and we will be going live for the investigation. So there's just so much. If you are in Western New York, come on down here tomorrow, guys. It's really is a cool. Go back over to my face here. Cool place. And you guys know archaeology and anthropology is my background, so looking at this stuff is really, really amazing. And all right, we'll see everybody in a few. Thanks for joining in, and yeah, come on back in about 10 minutes. So grab your drinks and come on back.